Shalom, everyone. Shalom. I want to welcome everyone to King James Bible University Precept Master. I'm Elder Michael Johnson with the Lost Sheep of Israel. And today we're going to be going through a pretty interesting teaching because what's going on is at the end, on Wednesday, they're going to be pulling it back for us what the offer was that was on the table for the churches of Christ, which we see right here, which was $1 million for them to prove that 33 AD that they started. And it's comical. The reason why, because I also promised them once we finish this, I'll actually leave these clowns alone. And I want to show you something because it's actually pretty funny based on what's happening. Because, you have people who have actually absolutely nothing to do with the Bible, which I show him up here as Javier the bastard, basically what he is. And he knows he's a bastard, but he hates that he's one. But I got to show you something because he actually talking about some records. He's talking about some records. You won't believe it until you see it. But he's talking about records that people that like we don't have, but for some reason he can't get under his head what a Hebraeus is. For some reason, it's too complicated for him to understand that. So I just want to show you this clip here real quick before we really get into the teaching and show you just how foolish these guys are. But I want to show you this real quick.
That they are priests. Remember what Nehemiah did? He took out the record to recognize and see who was a priest. Look at the genealogy record-wise. And they were able to prove who was and who was not. So these so-called Hebrews, they don't have those records. Even if they say they got it from the Vatican, they don't have those records when it comes to the truth. And if they had those records, what did Paul say to Timothy in 1 Timothy? To not give heed to endless genealogies, because now you receive the Spirit of Christ.
I know you can't make this up on what he's actually stating. He it almost disrespect to call someone stupid, and you're making people who's actually just stupid actually doing a disrespect based on what he's saying out of his own mouth. They said that they can prove that they was 33 AD and they can go up, but once we pull the records on them and show where it actually came from, they didn't want to accept those records. Now he's sitting there talking about Hebraeus records. It's comical. He for some reason he cannot understand that it's a profession. So I don't like to spend time on ignorance, basically what he is. because he actually have nothing to do with the Bible whatsoever. But when you have people like that, I'm talking about, it's really no explaining him, because he's just a bastard what he is and just have no clue on what's going on. And I do want to show the other part where we're going to get into the teaching, because Henry, he's talking some of the same thing. And what I want them really to clearly get on what we do, and especially what I do here, if they ever notice, and they can even see our intermediary, they'll see I never send questions to them. Never send questions to them about the Bible whatsoever. And I do that for a reason, because there's no reason for me to stoop down to ignorance, because they push ignorance and they push stupidity, mean just stupidity all the way around. So there's no reason for me to ask them anything about Bible, because I'd be moving down to their level of nothingness, just knowing nothing, so I don't ask them any questions. But the part is where they never fail to do something. They never fail to put their foot in their mouth. And every time they do this, all they do, they go from one thing to another. And they just go from one thing to another. And what we do, we go directly into their doctrine and show exactly the stupidity, the ignorance, and how unintelligent they are. And what they do is just, all they do is talk. They sit there, oh, he's this, he's that. They don't know me. Henry never spoke to me. But what we do, we base his intelligence based on what he teach. And his intelligence is zero, because what he teaches, and you can see he has no intelligence, one, of the Bible. Two, he has no common sense, because common sense would have told him to where they can take off what happened. So I'm finishing up a lot of stuff, and same thing, you're going to see another video will come out based on what they're doing about Melchizedek, where they talking about the law change. You're going to see some clippings of that actually tomorrow. And because Wednesday we're going to be shutting that down, we're going to close out everything, and we done with these idiots from here out, because the main thing is they couldn't prove anything. We have 2+ million of them, where they trying to do everything possible, everything they possibly could do to speak with me just on Acts chapter 2, which is ignorance within itself based on what they want to talk about in Scripture, because letting them know they don't know what things mean or understand, and it just comes through a lot. But we found out some secret things that we just going to keep kind of private. But now we do have more light why Ozan fight the way he do. I know why now he just fights with ignorance. But we know a little bit more reason why he fight for Gentiles. I know why. I personally know why. But I don't need to share why, but I know why he does that. I know exactly why he do it, and why he's not really fighting for Javier. He's actually fighting for himself. But besides that, we go through with Henry, and we want to pull Henry up, and we want to pull what he said. And I'm trying to keep everything minimal, because I know the ignorance is unreal. So I want to show you something, and then we're going to go into the teaching on what's going on. So I want to show you this real quick, and then we're going to look at the teaching within itself. So just give me 1 minute, and we're going to go through that.
Bring that up because I just want to ask a question to the Michael Johnsons and those who hold on to that ridiculous, horrible faith. I just wondered, do you believe that Rahab under the Old Testament, was she a Jew or she a Gentile? 281-837-2222. She was from Jericho. She was a prostitute. Was she a Jew or was she a Gentile? Here's another one. If God wasn't concerned with people other than the Jews, why in the world would he send Jonah to the Assyrians? You know, I want to ask you that. Why go to Nineveh? Were they Jews? Were the Jews over there in Assyria? We need Bible for that. Not some of these foolish books that you're reading from other people that's not inspired by the Holy Spirit. Why would God waste his time to tell Jonah to go preach to a people that repented and God forgave them? You know, were they Jews, or do you believe they were Jews too? And then again, why is Paul here going to Athens?
So I'm telling you, you can't make it up unless you hear it. See, because if I just tell people that, they really won't believe it based on what he says. So one of them, he want to know about why did he send Jonah to Nineveh, and he believed Jonah went to a bunch of Gentiles, which I'm gonna prove to him what the issue was. And he was going to Hebrews. But I'm gonna show you that, but I'm just showing you what people sit under when people sit under people like this. And you can see he do a lot of talking in no Bible. This is what he does. He gonna tell you a whole lot of stuff in no Bible. And the worst part about this is people will believe it. They'll sit there like, okay, he sound believable, and he's a liar. So he said, one, why did the Most High save Rahab, the harlot, and why did he go to Nineveh? Because Nineveh is a bunch of Gentiles. So we're going to pull both of those up, and I'm going to educate the people. I know they're not intelligent enough to get what we're going to say, because they're just going to move to something else, in which we'll be bringing up another teaching this weekend. But I don't want them to be the focus of Melchizedek, because ignorance, you can't teach ignorance, and this is what they're about. So I want to show you where we're going to move over to the Bible, and we're going to look at some of this. We're going to start going through this. And I'm going to pull the chalkboard up to help you, to help people more so, to see what we need to do. Because I want to make sure two things here. We want to know what was the people in Nineveh and what was Jonah. So we need to answer those questions, and we're going to find out what's going on there. And then we're going to move over to Rahab. So we're going to go through those two, and we're going to find out what's going on here. So let's look at this. We're going to look in the first panel. We're going to go in the first panel. We're going to read two verses, and we're going to look at Jonah chapter 1, verse 1 and 2. We're going to look at Jonah chapter 1, verse 1 and 2. And we're going to get some clear about this and get a clear understanding on what's going on. And we're going to find out, is the people in Nineveh, are they Hebrews? That's what we're going to find out. So let's look at this. It says, now the word of the Lord came unto Jonah, the son of who? It's telling you right there clearly, but it's going to tell you something where I want people to really clearly get and understand something for themselves. Who did he go to? Who did he go to? And he was the son of Amittai. And the reason why I want to make sure we focus on Amittai, and he was the son of Amittai, I want you to focus on that, because Amittai is telling you about a functioning of who this guy was and who his son is, because Amittai actually means faithful and loyal. And Jonah was a son of that. And Jonah was the servant. That's what's going on. So as it's saying Jonah, the servant of who is faithful. That's all it's saying. And it said it in that way. He was the son of who is faithful. That's why it says this. You'll see this right up here. That's why it's saying it in that way. It says it came unto Jonah, the son of who is faithful. That's all that's saying. And it's saying it for a reason, because we're going to find out more so how this actually works out, and we'll see what happened. This is what we're going to be doing, and then we're going to find out a lot more as we continually move through Scripture. And we're going to look at verse 2, as it's saying right here. It says, he told him to arise and go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness is come up before me. So I want you to pay attention to a couple of things. One, it has wickedness that was going on still around the world, because you see it's not focusing on Gentiles whatsoever. It's not focusing on Gentiles whatsoever. But they focusing in on right here Nineveh, because Nineveh was his focus, because he's talking about some people. And to help us understand this, we're going to look at Hebrews chapter 12, and we're going to go from chapter 12, we're going to go through 5, and all the way down to verse 8. Because we want to understand a couple of things there. So we're going to look at Hebrews chapter 5, chapter 12, and we're going to look at 5 through 8. And we're going to find out a few things and get a better understanding on what's happening here. So we're looking right here in this second pane right here. And we're going to start right there in verse 5. And I'm going to highlight verse 5, but we're going to go down to verse 8. But I'm going to highlight 5 because we're going to go down to verse 8. So I want to make sure we highlight that. And it's saying, and ye have forgotten your exhortation. So when it's talking about your exhortation, it's talking about giving warning and instructions. That's all it's talking about. And he's saying your exhortation will speak unto you as unto children. So he's sitting there saying, so a lot of us has forgotten this. And we're going to find out why he's saying it in this way. It says this here, it says, we've forgotten our exhortation, which speak unto you as children. As children. My son, despise not thou chastening of the Creator, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. And that's purposely what's going on over what you see with when you look over here in here. Because he told Jonah to do something over here. He told him to go cry against this place. But you see here, and because what he was doing first is letting them know a couple of things, and we had to see how that was working out. But you'll see when we look at verse 6, it says, for whom the Creator loveth, he chasteneth, and scourges every son whom he receiveth. So we see we're going to find out in 1 second, he's not going to Gentiles. He's going to people in Nineveh, which is children of Hebrews, because that's what they were, Hebrews. All together, we're going to find this all together. And we're going to jump down to verse 7. We're going to see this, and then we're going to start looking at a little bit more. It says, if ye endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons. Follow what he's saying. That's a full thought. It says, for what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? So you same thing, you look at that, and you can say the same thing even for here today and people today. Because if you go out to a park and you're doing something and your father came out there and he's chastening you, he's not going to chasten John Brown's child that's down the street. He's not going to chasten him. He's chastening his child. But what he told him what not to do, and he did it, and he chastening him. He's not going to chasten someone else's child. So he makes this perfectly clear here. Now, verse 8 is where we're going to focus on and where we have some issues. It says, but providing ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then ye are bastards. This is what Javier is. But Javier trying to join himself to something that he can't join to, because a bastard will never enter into the congregation of the Lord, not even after the 10th generation. However, he believes he can. So be it. And it says, and not sons. Now, the problem here is what we want to look at. So without chastisement, they're not partakers. So they're bastards and they're not sons. So no matter what you or anyone else says, see, even no matter what I say, I cannot change what God said. I'm not in God's stead. No way possible. Only thing I can do is go off based what the scripture says. I know he don't change it, and he's not altering anything. So I cannot change what God said, as well as you. Anyone else cannot change what God said. But people believe they can add people to something. He can't, but this is what people do. This is what they're doing. But we want to look at something. We're going to go through some little bit more. So I want to show you something to where it's going to help us out a lot more, and we're going to find out more about Jonah in 1 second, because we got to go back to Jonah, but we want to find out something. So what I want to do, we're going to go over here. We're going to look at Genesis chapter 10, but we want to pick it up at verse 6. The reason why I want you to pick it up at verse 6, I want everybody to take their time, and I want you to look at what's getting ready to happen, because we're going to look at some genealogies, and we're going to find out a few things here that we need to clearly get. So let's look at this. It says, in the sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. And then it says the son of Cush, Seba, and Havilah, and Saptah. Saptah is actually somebody we need to know through, because he has his name meaning is a whole different ball game. and we need to know who he is, and as well as Sabbatha. Sabbatha, this is another one. We need to really know what these names mean because it has a lot to do with what's going on. But as it's going on, it's saying this. It's saying the son of Ramah, Seba, and Dedan, and it says Cush. Now we're going to talk about Cush. One of the sons had another son. Cush had a son, and then he begat Nimrod. And then they're going to tell you a little bit of information about Nimrod. It's just saying, and he began to be a mighty one in the earth. So it's telling you something, even though he already had grown up, but it's just telling you, it want to inject and tell you something about Nimrod. And he became a mighty one in the earth, which was him. But watch what happens. And then it says, he was a mighty hunter before the Spirit of God. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Spirit of God. This telling you something that is clear. Let's move down to verse 9. We're going down to verse 10. It says, in the beginning of his kingdom was Babel. This was the beginning of the kingdom of Babel for Nimrod, Erech and Echleh and Calith in the land of Shinar. Now, we got all that. We get that. But I want to show you something else that we need to focus on. Now, he pauses here because he did a full stop here. He's going to pick back up in a second and still start telling you some more stuff about the children of Ham. But he's pausing here because he want to inject some information that you need to know. You're going to see this here in verse 11. It says, out of the land went forth Asher. Out of the land went forth Asher, who left the land of Shem. Because we're going to find out a little bit of stuff about that. Now, to find out more so with this, I want to show you something. We're going to pour this in, and I want to show you more so with that. We're going to go back to 10, but I want to go down to verse 21. I want to show you something. Because that, who he's talking about, Asher, is actually talking about Shem's child. So we want to see that. And because right in all of this, it's still talking about Ham's children. All that's talking about Ham's children. But now we're going to stop here. And we get down to verse 21. It's going to say, unto Shem, also a father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japhet, the elder. So it's telling you, even to him were children born. So now we're going to talk about that. The reason why I want to inject that, before we finish out this here, we want to find out a little bit of stuff about Shem, because Shem bore children. And the children, Shem, Elam, and Asher. But we know Asher, once he was grown up, what did Asher do? Asher left the land. He didn't stay where Shem was. He left. Normally they stay in the same cities where the fathers are. Asher didn't do that. Asher left. That's what it's talking about. So now he interjected that to let us know, because Asher went forth and built the city that they talking about right here, Nineveh. That's what he went and built. The same place where Jonah went to. The identical place. So now we know who was there. But we're going to find out some more information. But this shows you the silliness that people do on what's going on. And it tells you exactly who these people are. And you see the children of Shem, Elam, Asher, and Araphat, and Lud, and Aram. These are the children of Shem. So, and Asher is the one that built Nineveh, the children of Shem. These are Hebrews. That's the problem. And the problem is what was Jonah? Because we got to find out what Jonah was also, because Jonah is telling you even more so. So you're going to see what they said about Jonah. So let's go down. We're going to go to the same place. We're going to look at Jonah chapter 1, but we're going to go down to verse 8 just to find out who he is and why he sent Jonah to them. And we'll see the 8, and we're going to look at 8 and 9. Jonah chapter 1, verse 8 and 9. It says, then said they unto him, tell us, we pray thee, for whose cause this evil upon us? What is thy occupation? Do you want to know what his occupation is? In which thou comest down, what is thy country, and what and of what people art thou? So that's the question that they asking Jonah. That's the question they're asking Jonah. Now Jonah answered them, and he said right here in verse 9, and he said unto them, I am a Hebrew. I don't know how well for people I can understand we can miss this. For the Church of Christ and for Ozan and Henry now, I get it, because ignorance you can't teach ignorance. They born with it. They completely born with it. But it's telling you that's why he went there, because he had to go cry against the people in Nineveh, because the people in Nineveh was Asher. This is who was in Nineveh the entire time. But he's sitting there, and you see he's telling you those are Gentiles. The Bible telling you is Asher, who is the son of Shem, who are Hebrews. So we have this big problem here that I'm talking about. You cannot really. I'm talking about you can't get around this. So let's go over here. I'm talking. It's comical. The only reason I like because it's comical. It's really comical. So who are the people in Nineveh? We know Asher, so we got to put Asher there. So we're gonna put Asher there to let people know who was there. We need to put that there. We need to make people know who was there. So let's put this here, and we're gonna put Asher there. And we're gonna put put the wrong one. And let me see. I had that right. So you know Asher were the people in Nineveh. Now we know that. This is clear as day. Because Asher went to build Nineveh. We know that. And Jonah was a Hebrew. As was Asher. So that is what the thing is. That's why he sent him there. He sent him there because of this. And this is why he had to do what he did. But for some reason, they're not figuring out, because you have to remember, you have New Testament Bible teachers who actually knows nothing. And so when they sit there, and he can sit there and say these things, tell me who these people are, tell them who these people are. And I'm showing it to him right here. You can see this, and we also seen it in Scripture. And it's showing you exactly who these people are. So next time, and I'm pretty sure some people still going to sit there in this man telling you right up front. He don't know who he's telling you, that Asher is a bunch of Gentiles. Asher telling you right here, he went forth, Asher, to build Nineveh, a city in Rabbah and Khalid. He's telling you, the Bible telling you who went there and built this city. He didn't even know who Assyrians was. He think Assyrians is something. This is the silliness that we get into. Was he wrong? 100% wrong. He's 1,000% wrong, because he don't know what he's talking about. This is the problem we have when we have people who should not be in the Bible whatsoever, and all they should be doing is sitting down learning, besides trying to sit there and tell people what need to go on. I'm talking about they be on the radio to about 40 or 50 people pushing these lies. And then they swear up and down they doing something to me, but all we doing is growing. It's comical. So we need to make sure, and this is for the people who really just trying to understand the Bible before we move over to Rahab. And this is just, where we just doing our little clearance and understanding, we make sure people clear everything. But I just want to make sure, do everybody understand who built Nineveh? And all the people know Asher is the one that was a Hebrew who went to build Nineveh. So I just want to make sure everybody know that. Just put that in there so we can make sure we're clear there. So you just put yes, as long as you understand it. We can go a little bit deeper. We need to, because we know Abraham was also a Hebrew. So I just want to make sure we all clear here. I'm just trying to make sure we all clear here. So I'm just trying to so everybody they clear there. So I just want to make sure we clear on something else. I just want to make sure we clear on something else. And just to make sure we completely clear, to show you where Abraham is from and showing you the same thing. And I want to make sure we got this. We're going to look at Genesis chapter 14. We're going to pick it up at verse 13. Because it's almost embarrassing to show that these guys is like this, and it's comical. Because the only real one really over there who's actually one people that should have been dealt with was actually was Henry. Should have been the only one we should have personally been dealing with. But we're going to look at this. It says right here in Genesis chapter 14, picking it up at verse 13, it says, "And there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew." Abram the Hebrew. So it's letting you know, in Abram came through Tyred, who Tyred and them came through that same line of Shem. It's telling you exactly what's going on. But for whatever reason, this guy, he's sitting there swearing up and down, those are a bunch of Gentiles. And I don't, what they like to do is tell you scripture. And then what they like to do is a bunch of talking. They do a bunch of talking, and they can't help themselves on anything else. But you see right here, it's clear. So we have that part, but I want to show you another part. We're going to look at another part, and I want to show you this other part. We're going to look at this here. I want to pull this one here, and we're going to go through this, because he actually asked another question. He asked another question, and same thing he said. He asked it, and we can educate his people. We already know we can't educate him because he's just too ignorant to understand it. But we can educate his people. So it says, why did God save Rahab, and was Rahab a Hebrew? And as he said, he talking about he need Bible, which he don't use, and then he had the nerve to say that we use outside resources, and all you ever see up here is the Bible. That's it. But he's sitting there telling you a lie, and then they went around telling people, oh, we know they listen to us. We listen. Oh, I listen to, and just to let them know again, I do not listen to you. Why would I listen to a fool? And that's the problem. We had people listening to you, which it was hard for them to listen to, just to see what you guys saying. But I'm talking about, it's comical to just truly believe that I will sit there and take the time to listen to a fool. It's comical. It's comical. So let's look at this and with Rahab. So he wanted to know why was Rahab saved? That's why was she saved, and was she a Hebrew? And the same thing is we go right back to where people like him don't know. So I want to show you something right here. We're gonna look at a couple of things. I want to go to Hebrews, and we're gonna look at Hebrews, and then we're gonna go back and find out what happened. So we're gonna go to Hebrews chapter 11, and we're gonna pick it up at verse 31. Hebrews chapter 11, we're gonna look at verse 31 and find out what's going on there. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 31. And it tells us, it says right here in verse 31, it says, by faith, the harlot Rahab perished not, with them that believed not. when she had received the spies with peace. This telling you everything that you need to know. This telling you everything you need to know. But what we're going to do, we're going to dig down into this and find out what's going on. And the main thing was Rahab a Hebrew? And no, she wasn't. But the problem is, you have Gentiles who was off, and what we have to do is look at these things here. So I want to make sure, actually, I got to put this over here. People sitting there saying, and I do thank you. I appreciate it. I'm doing like I do in the back. I forget something's up because I'm start talking. But we're looking at this one right here. We're looking at Hebrews chapter 11, verse 31. We're looking at that one. And it says, by faith, the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believed not, when she had received the spies with peace. That's what is going on. So we need to focus on that and see what's going on. But was Rahab a Hebrew? No, she was not. Even though you don't know what she was. But we have one thing is you see, but the main thing is what's being shown. Because Rahab was a 100% Canaanite. She was a Canaanite. But if you notice, when you go look at Japhet and his children, they was put off to the isles of the Gentiles. They was not raised up next to their brothers, Shem or Ham. They wasn't raised up next to each other, which Shem and Ham was. So we got to find out a little bit more what was going on to get a better understanding why he received Rahab. Why did he receive Rahab? And we want to find that out. So that's what we got to go through and we got to look at. So we see this here. We see this here in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 31, that she didn't perish based on what happened. So we want to know a few things what went on. And to find out what went on, we got to find this information. We got to go to Joshua. We're going to go to chapter 2 in Joshua. And we're going to get the information there to find out more so what happened. We're going to go to Joshua chapter 2. And we're going to pick it up at verse 9. But we're going to go from 9 to 13. Joshua chapter 2, 9 through 13. We're going to pick that up from there. So we're going to start right here at 9. This is where we're going to pick that up at. So we want to make sure we got that together. We're going to go down to verse 13. But we want to understand some things that went on. So we're looking at this, and we see what's going on here. And it says this. It says, and she said unto the men, because men were sent to spy out the land. These were some Hebrews that were sent out to spy out the land. These are children of Israel. They were sent out to spy the land, where she was. If you go, you read that whole thing, you'll see what went on. And it says, I know the Spirit of God. And she's talking about their God, because you're going to even see, she's going to even tell you later. She said, I know the Spirit of God has given you the land, in that your terror is fallen upon us. And it says, and all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. So she's right up front telling him what's going on. So she's letting these spies know what's going on. But she has seen these spies, and she's talking with them. And they talking with her. And now she's going to even tell her some information, some background information she know about them. And as she's telling them, they know that she knows what's going on. So we're going to look at verse 10. We're going to go keep going down. And let me get that high. Okay, so we got 10. And it says, for we have heard how the Spirit of God dried up the waters of the Red Sea, the water of the Red Sea for you. And when ye came out of Egypt, and what ye did to the 2 kings of the Amorites that were on the other side of Jordan, Sihon and God. It's a cold thing what he did to God. I always say that, but it's a cold thing what he did to God. It's a cold thing. But anyway, it says, whom ye utterly destroyed. I'm talking about they took them out. And they sitting there like, hell no, we ain't going to go through this. We do not want to go through this problem. So we're going to get down a little bit more. Verse 11, it says this. It says this as we go down. Because we're going to find out why did he save her, and that's what we want to see. It says, in comparing, soon as we have heard these things, our heart did melt. They sitting there like, hell no. These people is coming, and they coming over here where we are. And they already know they can't stop them. That's where you know a person is already defeated, is when that's something like that. Something's getting ready to go down. They're hearing all these things. They're on their way. They already know this. Is just, as soon as they get here, it's nothing we can do. So it says, as soon as we heard these things, our heart melt. Neither did there remain any more courage in any man. They didn't even have no strength to even fight against them. He's telling you right here. They had no more courage to fight against them. It says, because of you. For the Spirit of God, you see right here, the Spirit of God, your God. See, she's not even trying to claim it like Henry, like Javier's doing. She's not trying to claim him. It's your God. We know it's your God. See, but you have people who feel they can just take ownership in that's craziness. But she's saying the Spirit of your God, he is the God of heaven above and the earth beneath. Making sure this is clear. So this is how we're going to find out how she was saved. This is something where, this is why I say it's so important to watch who you learn from. Because when you learn from people who don't know anything, how you just seen with your own eyes and heard him sitting there saying, he said Nineveh was a bunch of Gentiles. And you seen though Nineveh was a bunch of Hebrews. You see it. And he can hold on to whatever he want to hold on to. But the only thing he can do is lie to people. And then what they'll do, they'll throw words. Oh, he's a liar. He's a liar. He using outside books. They use the Strong's Concordance, which is a stupid book, but they use it. But they want to sit there and say, that's a God-inspired book. Understand what they're using. Understand what they're saying. We use the King James Bible. That's what we use. And they saying, okay, they had the one with the Apocrypha in it, so that's uninspired. Which is part, when you go look at the original King James Bible, all those books are there. But then they try to lie and they say, well, you got the book of Jasher, the book of Enoch, and the book of Jubilees. No, it don't. That's stuff that people like him, where he's going through the Strong Concordance, people like that who put those in there, but they take hold to the Strong Concordance. I'm telling you, it's idiocy all the way around. But when you deal with this is the problem we have. And this is why they confused here. They don't know how she was saved. And we're getting ready to see. So you're going to see what happened. We're going to find out a few things, what happened. So I want everybody to really clearly get what's going on. And I want you to write it down, because this will help you out to fight against ignorance like that. And it says, now for that reason, she's saying that now for that reason. She already told them what the problem is. She said, hey, we heard about what was going on. Our hearts right. If y'all walk in here, we ain't doing nothing. We don't have no courage to fight. What y'all did to the two kings, they parted the Red Sea. We don't have no strength to fight you. We already know we can't win. This is what she's actually telling them. And she says, so for that reason, I pray you. She's telling him to do what? Swear unto me by the Spirit of God. Now, she already sitting there telling him, is your God. He says, for the Spirit of God, your God. She already sitting there. So she ain't sitting there tripping. She ain't tripping on them on anything. But you seeing she's going to make something to him. She says, swear unto me by your Spirit of God, by your God. That's what she want to know. I want to sit there and see. I don't know why I didn't highlight the whole thing. There we go. So she said, swear to me by the Spirit of God. That's what she wants them to do. And we're going to find out why she's doing it in that way and how this actually works out and how it actually functions. That's what we want to know. So now we want to swear. We want to know what that swear is. So I want you to write it down if people don't have it. I know I taught on it many times, but I want, just in case, if you guys just coming over here, I want you to know what it is. Because swear mean you're going to make a covenant, you're going to make an oath. That's what she's telling them. I want you guys to make a covenant unto me. I want you guys to make an oath to me by the Spirit of God. The same way he got an oath to you guys, I need you to make me one of those through his name. Is what she's saying. She's not playing. She knows what's going on. So she can be a harlot, but she ain't stupid. Technically, what's going on here? She said, since I have showed you kindness, there you go, another problem here. See, she's laying it on him. She says that ye will also show kindness unto my father's house. That's what she's willing and dealing. I showed you kindness. I did these things. I want you guys to show kindness unto me. But I need you to do it according to your God, not according to what man's going to do. I need it according to what you're going to do. And that's why she needed it that way. That's why I said, and you swear unto me by. That's why by is there. By, again, and just to show you even more so, we want to look even how that functions. Just because I want to make sure you guys clearly get how Hebrew words function in the Bible. Because when it's saying by, it's mean according to. So it's saying swear unto me according to the Spirit of God. That's what she's saying in its fullness. No camera tricks. Because that's all by actually mean. So when they translate it, they just translate it with by, where people still get it. But it's according to the Spirit of God. That's what I want you guys to do. And I showed you kindness, you show kindness unto my Father's house, including give me a true token. See this? I'm telling you, she ain't no dumb woman. She might be a harlot, but she ain't stupid. She's a long way from stupid. So once this is done, we want to look at this actually as an example where we're going to look at even according to. I just want to show you a couple of things just to make sure we all on the same page. Because just thinking about it, I want to make sure we all on the same page. So we're going to go to Genesis chapter 24, and we're going to look at verse 2 and 3 to get what it's saying here and understand. Because we're going to see the same thing with Abraham on what he's going to do with his own servant. I want you to see this on what he's going to do. So we want to understand how this works out and what goes on. So now let's go over here, and we're going to see this here. And we're going to see, actually we're going to do 2 and 3. Abraham, we're going to look at 24, 2 and 3. And you see, watch what he does here. I want you to see this. It says, and Abraham said unto his eldest servant, this is a servant of his house, and he says, that ruled over all that he had, a servant. And he says, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh. So he's sitting there because he's going to make him say an oath. And that's what he wanted him to do, because we're going to find out some things later on what was going on. Verse 3, it says, I will make thee swear. You see this here? That's why I went here. Thinking about it, I want to go here. So I want you to swear by. I want you to swear according to the Spirit of God. That's what he wants him to do. That the God of heaven and the God of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell. That's what I need you to do this according to my God. So you see it's right here in front of us. It's right here in front of us. So we see that there. So as we see that there, now we're getting more so what's going on. Now we understand more so what was happening the entire time. So let's go back over here, and we're going to look at here, and now we're going to look at verse 13. Because she wanted a true token. She wanted a true token on what was happening. So let's look at that. So we're going to look at verse 13 and see how that works out. It says, and that ye will save alive my father. So she wanted my father alive, my mother, including my brother, including my sisters, including all they have, and deliver our lives from death. So this is that she wanted a true token, and she wanted to make sure as you do this, okay, all these people, I want you to make sure we come out of this thing. I can't have nobody dead. I want all these people alive. I showed you guys kindness. I need a true token, and I want all my father's house saved. That's what she wanted. But she said, I need a token as if you doing this to God. She ain't stupid. So this is what hearing them don't get. This is why ignorance, you can't teach ignorance, because they still not gonna get it. That I promise you, because they too stupid. So when you look at this, I want to show you how this goes out. We're gonna go down to verse 17. We're gonna pick it up at verse 17. The reason why we're gonna go down to 17 to 21. So we're gonna go to the same place, Joshua chapter 2, but we're gonna go down from 17 to 21, and we're gonna highlight there, and then we're gonna go down. So we're going to look at Joshua 2:17 to 21, but we're going to start right there. We want to start right there because I want you guys to see how this is actually going to kick out. So it says this. It says, and the men said unto her. So now the spies is going to sit there and they're going to talk to her because she wanted this true token. So the covenant comes with an agreement, and it comes with ordinances on something you have to do according to what she wanted to talk about with God. So they telling her what these ordinances are. The man said unto her, we will be blameless of this thy oath, which thou hast made us swear. So he's saying you made us swear, but we're going to be blameless because we're going to tell you some things. And if you do this, these things, we're going to be blameless on there. So they're going to tell them what it is. And now we're going to look at verse 18. And we see 18, it says, remember when thou comest into the land. So he's saying, so when you remember we come into the land, thou shalt bind this line of scarlet thread in the window, which thou doest let us down by. So they telling her plain as day, this same scarlet thread, we're going to know that. We want you to bind that in the window. When we come, this better be in the window. This not in the window, we come in there, we're going to be blameless. That's what they holding her to. When we come into the land, it better be in the window. We're going to be blameless. So they making sure she understand that. So you better bind that scarlet in the window, which thou doest let us down, including thou shalt bring thy father. So now your father and thy mother and thy brother and all thy father's household home unto thee. So everybody better be in that house. I'm just being flavor. I'm just telling you what time. I'm just giving you the details of the details. Everybody better be in that house. Everybody. Actually, I want to show you something real quick. Thinking about that. Just thinking about it so I won't forget. We're going to go to Matthew 16:19. Matthew 16:19. And this is the same silhouette picture. That's why I said it just made me think. So we just wondering. He says this in Matthew 16:19. He says, I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. That was the deal that they was making with her. That was the deal they was making with Rahab. We just seeing a silhouette picture of what's happening. So now let's go back over here to verse 19. We're going to pick it up some more. Because they laying it down. They said, and it shall be that whatsoever go out of the doors of thy house into the street, meaning this, if somebody go walk out that house, being a looky-loo, see, we have people today, so we have a whole bunch of our family members be dead as a doorknob, and you'll wonder why. But it's telling you, whosoever shall go out the door of thy house into the street, his blood should be upon his head. And we cut him. Don't you come to us. Don't you come talk to us about that. Because we told you. You better stay in the house. But we have so many people nosy today, I guarantee you, a whole bunch of our family members be dead. Because Pookie gonna go look at, Pookie gonna go outside. Pookie wanna go outside. Baby kids wanna run out the doors. And go come up dead. Because they are ordered to kill everything when they come through there. And they saying they go out that house, equal dead. And he says they blood gonna be up on their head, including we will be guiltless. So don't even come tripping with us. He said, and whosoever shall be with thee in the house, his blood shall be upon our heads. So if you in the house, that's in the window, and something happened to anyone in there, that's on us. This is clear. And he says, in any hand be upon them. If you, even if somebody walk in there and try to rough them up, that's on them. This is, I'm talking about, they making this clear. If you try to, we come in there and somebody done rough somebody up in there, in that house, and all I'm thinking about is Joshua. And you got to deal with Joshua, because don't think these spies didn't go back and tell Joshua about this. I just don't want to be the one who did it. Because he's going to tell you some more here. We're going to look at verse 20. It says, because they got to make this oath locked down solid for them. They said, and if thou utter this, our business, so if you go around and we hear you talking about this, and people know what's going on, then we will be quit of thy oath, which thou hast made with us to swear. All we got to do is hear you out and talked about us, and been out here and then did this. Oath is done. We come through there, you can put all the scarlet things, you can put them all over the windows, everywhere. We coming through there wiping out everything. Because our oath is done. We got a lot of people even today be dead as a doorknob, because guess what? Don't tell nobody I told you, but such and such gonna come on this day. Then next thing you know, somebody, don't tell nobody I told you so, but such and such told me. Next thing somebody told, your oath will be dead as a doorknob. And this is what he's saying. He's making sure this is the deal. So he says this more in verse 21. In verse 21, he says this. He says, she said, according unto your words, so be it. So she, okay, I'm good. You want to do it? I'm good. And she sent them away, and they departed, and she bound the scarlet lion into the window. So she bind that in the window. As soon as they left, she took care of business. So now we're going to look at something that went down and show a little bit more why people really need to make sure they understand their Bibles. But they can actually throw their Bibles away because they've been blaspheming the Bible. So, but this is just to help people who probably can be saved. Can be saved by going to the Word of God and letting God minister unto them what the truth is. So we're going to pick this up in Joshua chapter 6. We're going to pick it up at verse 21. And we're going to go down to 25. So Joshua 6, 21 through 25. And this is where we're going to pick it up. We're going to get a better understanding on what happened here. So it says this, it says, and they utterly destroyed all that was in the city. So this is just letting you know this is aftermath. So if you want to read the whole story, it's easier for you guys to go read this whole story. We just picking up in pieces just to show you why something happened. And it's telling you, it said, and they destroyed the whole city. It says both man and woman, young and old. So it didn't matter. That's why I was saying they was killing kids, they was killing women, they was killing men. It didn't matter. This is why they were sitting there saying it was so deep. Because if you see your 2-year-old running out there, your 2-year-old got killed. And it said, man, young and old, your ox, the sheep, the ass, with the edge of the sword. They was killing everything. This is why this was so important. This is why that they made sure you gonna swear about what's happening here. So we're gonna look at this more so in verse 22. And I owe it to you. You owe it to yourself to go read this and really get abreast on this. It says, but Joshua said unto the two men that had spied out the country. So now Joshua, just like I told you, Joshua knew about this because they came back and told Joshua. Remember, it was in chapter 2. Right now we're in chapter 6. So we see this was already spoken and they already told Joshua. So now Joshua said unto the two men that had spied out the country, go unto the harlot's house and bring out the woman and all that she hath, as ye swear unto her. You see right there. You showed kindness, we're going to do kindness back. You made a covenant, we're going to follow the covenant. Because she wanted one the same way that you're going to do it to God. Remember, she wanted that. I want a true token. Don't you come pulling my leg. And that's what they did. That's why Joshua and them kept that agreement, but we're going to find out more so on this altogether. Let's go down to verse 23. And you'll see what's happening here. And hopefully, I know dumb Henry and dumb Ozan and them is over here. They just ain't gonna put nothing in there. But I know they're gonna sit there and they don't get it. And it says, and the young men that were spies went in and brought out Rahab and her father and her mother and her brother and all that she had, and they brought all her kindred and left them without the camp of Israel. They was without the camp of Israel. And to find out what without mean is outside the camp of Israel. They didn't dwell in the same camp. They dwelt right outside the camp, but you better not go mess with them. Because you're going to mess with them, you're going to get hooked up. But then more so show you what's going on. That's why she wanted that. So that's why I say she was sharp on what she did, and she was sharp on what she knew. So I want to show you a couple of things that why she wanted one according to God. Why she wanted that. We're going to look at Psalms 89. We're going to pick it up at verse 34. I don't know if she dabbled in it. I don't know. The Bible don't say, but it doesn't matter. It says this. It says, my covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that is going out of my lips. That's one reason why she wanted one like unto God. You guys going to do me this one, and I want one like you do to God. And she knew he can't change it. He ain't going to alter nothing, which tells you even more so why she wanted one the same way. We're going to look at Numbers 23 and verse 19. Numbers 23 and verse 19. And this is why she's saying what she was saying. That's why I say she wasn't stupid. It says God is not a man that he should lie. They swear it unto her. She said, no, I want one to be just like unto God. God is not a man that he should lie. Neither the son of man that he should repent, that he need to remember. Hath he said and shall not do it? So if he said something, shall not he do it? She's in there saying, no, your God said he going to do something. I know he going to do it. He said it, do it. I need you to swear to me. We're going to make a covenant. And he said, have he spoken and shall not make it good? Yeah, he going to make it good. He going to make it good. That's why you see back over here, when we go back over here to 12, I want you to go back over here and look at verse 12. It says, now, therefore, I pray you swear unto me according to the Spirit of God. That's why she said that. She ain't stupid. I don't need you guys to do it this way. I don't care less what y'all saying. You do it this way. So you see what went on here. So now let's go down a little bit more. We're going to go down to verse 24 and see in Joshua chapter 6, 24. And it says this. It says, and they burnt the city with fire and all that was therein, only the silver and the gold in the vessels of brass and iron, they put in the treasury of the house of the Spirit of God. Now, here's the part on what they didn't get. Here's the part on what they need to understand and have a complete understanding on what happened. Is you're going to look at verse 25 to show you exactly what would happen. So it says, Joshua saved Rahab the harlot alive. She made the agreement. They made it. They did it. It says in her father's household. That's the deal she made with the covenant. They made it. She held her in. They held their in. And all that she had. That's what she wanted. They made the agreement. They told her what not to do. She did it. They fulfilled it. And she dwelt. Meaning she dwelt in Israel even unto this day. So she just dwelt among them. So she can go into their cities and out. Their family can go in and out the city of where they were. They was outside the camp, but they can go in there freely. They can go in there freely. And it's because she had hid, it's telling you, because she had hid the messengers which Joshua sent out to spy out Jericho. That was the reason why. But what was the purpose of this? What was the purpose of this? Because the Bible told you from the beginning. The Bible let you know exactly from the beginning. And you'll see this in Genesis chapter 12, and you'll pick it up at verse 3. Genesis 12, verse 3, it says this. He says, I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curse thee. In these shall all families in the earth be blessed. She hid them, they took care of her. She hid them, they took care of her. So the same thing is what we got to remember. The same identical thing we have to remember. The same as when we looked at earlier, where Abrams, and he was talking about Abraham's, his servant, and you will see the same identical thing when people are trying to join something with something else. But I'm going to show you that was Abraham's God, not his servants. But people sit there and they trip on this. So we're going to look at this and see all together in Genesis chapter 24. We're going to look at verse 12. 24 and verse 12. Watch what his servant says. And he said, O Spirit of God, of my master Abraham. I don't know what part was so hard to get down there. Abraham's servant, he was ordered to go get a wife for his son. And he's praying to Abraham's God. And he's talking about, of my master Abraham. You'll see this again. Actually, let's go back to verse 22. I'm going to show it to you again. We're going to look at 22 and verse 5. Genesis 22 and verse 5. And I'm going to show you something in 22 verse 5, just to show you this. To show you why this works out this way. It says, and Abraham said unto the young men, and mainly when they had these was Egyptians, these were the Ham children. But they were servants to Abraham now. And Abraham said unto the young men, he said, abide here with the ass. He says, and I, in the lad, which is the son Isaac, will go yonder and worship and come again to you. The same as Rahab and them. They abided outside, but they was freely able to mingle with people because there was no harm to anybody. The thing is, was she saved? They showed kindness. She showed kindness to them, and she made an oath with them, and they kept it. So it's not as if they just went and did it. She showed kindness, and she said why, and they said why what they was going to do based on that covenant and everything else. They made the covenant, and they did it. So whatever reason, this guy Henry, I'm telling you, they comical. they are comical. And I'm gonna play it again before we get out of here. But I want you just to hear the comical. 1 second, it don't want to play real quick. 1 second, let me try this one more time. Let me try this one more time. And it's not. Oh, that's probably why. No. Yep, it's not going, so you don't want to play there. So we'll leave it there. We will leave it there. Because it's not playing, but probably saving people from listening to a lot of nonsense. But the main thing is to see what's going on and see what's happening. I just want to just show people truly what was happening here and how this actually goes out. But the main thing is we're actually going to be doing another teaching this weekend. And if you're all possible, we're going to be doing this one on Melchizedek. We're going to go through that. I'm going to show you a clip later this week on them same guys. They call themselves teaching on Melchizedek, which we will show you the corrections that they did. But a lot of people teach incorrectly on it. But I just want to show you the stupidity that they teach because they say the law changed. And the same thing as I told them. You put up anything and you saying the law changed. I'm saying it don't because the Bible says it don't. See, will I not show up? You see, they didn't say anything. They didn't make it known because what they do, they just lie to people. So as I said, Wednesday will be the last day of that. And it's the last day of this reward here. So we will be ending that because the people who actually put it up, they'll be moving that over back into their accounts and putting it back into the investment that they had. And so be it. But as well as I made a covenant with them to where I leave these clowns alone because that's all they are. And that's all they see them as clowns. And all you have to do, and all people have to remember is when you have people like them that talk the way that they talk, all they can ever do is sit there and make accusations, talk about things that I supposedly have said, some things I supposedly study with. Oh, he's in the books, he's into this. All you see is Bible. That's it. That's all everybody's saying. Javier is just so ignorant to where he want to talk about, Hebrews. He don't have common sense to tell you, or to even tell his people, it's a profession. They was going around, they thought it was a religion. So you understand just how that is. 1 week they talking about it's a religion, and then they had to change it because they're not doing it's a profession. And people listen to this. So I'm talking about you can't get around it. Now, I wasn't, but what I am going to do, I'm still going to open it up because even so, because I know any person from the Church of Christ, and same thing, I'm getting ready to put up a Zoom link. Just because of that, I'm going to put up a Zoom link just in case that they might want to feel any kind of way. They'd be more than welcome to come back there. But the main thing is, as soon as you come back there, we're going to push it automatically live. I do that for that reason because, same as I say, I want all people to see the ignorance. There's no other way I can do this. So I'm getting ready to go through this, and we're going to be going through. So Wednesday, I will be doing another. I doubt if I'll be doing the teaching, but I have to I have to, one second. I have to leave these clowns alone. So that I'll be doing. But if you refresh your screen, you guys will see that there. If you refresh your screens, you'll see it there. And you can be able to, because I'm going to go in the back in 1 second to where people, and hopefully they show up. Hopefully they show up. They talk quite a bit. They always want somebody to, if they come over here and we have some questions. And every time we answer any question that they have to show their ignorance. But the main thing is they incapable of sitting there tearing down any doctrine that we have, because our doctrine do not belong to us. The doctrine that we teach belong to God. So we have no doctrine here, and they, for some reason, they keep sitting there wanting to find out what doctrine we have. And the same thing as we asked where they went and got that William Bell. And the same thing is, William Bell, you got 2 days. We more than happy to meet with you anytime. Because come to find out, you and Michael Holloway is pretty much one of the same. You can go look at what we did to him, because he's pretty much the same line as these 3 clowns right here. He's no difference. So we will be highly interested to even talk to you, to see what you have to say. But with that, we have to go. So we ending this, and where we getting ready to go out of here. So on Wednesday, these things will be over. We're going to be doing a big closeout on this and letting people know, but we'll be closing this out. So with that, we're going to open up the back area. We're going to wait to see if any type of clowns going to come there to see what's going on, and we'd love to see them there. But other than that, I say to each and every person, hopefully you guys got clarification based on what they were saying, talking about Asher was Gentiles. Now you clearly know Asher was Hebrews, which he clearly didn't know. He telling you out of his own mouth, he thought they was Gentiles. Then he want to know why God saved Rahab. It's in the Bible why God spared Rahab. It's right there in the Bible. But the problem, people sit there and people like them. They like to study commentary, and whatever commentary say, that's what they roll with, besides doing the study themselves. So hopefully with this, everybody get it. So from this point, you can click on that Zoom link, and I'll be meeting you over on the other side. So from here, I say to each and every person, shalom.